Welcome to the Deep Dive. We take a stack of sources, pull out the key insights just for you.
Exactly.
And today, we're diving into something huge. Marriage.
As old as time, almost.
Right. One of our oldest traditions, but wow, is it changing fast in the 21st century?
It really is breathtakingly fast.
People are trying to square these ancient expectations with this real surge in wanting personal choice. It's quite a tension.
Like real dynamic tension, yeah.
Okay, let's unpack this. Let's explore these shifts happening, well, everywhere.
Yeah, and what's so interesting, I think, is how this institution, seen as this rock of stability,
The cornerstone.
exactly, is now being asked to bend and stretch to fit all this individual freedom, this personal expression.
It's a paradox, isn't it?
It is. Sometimes challenging, definitely fascinating. And that's what this deep dive is about, right? Exploring that tension.
A clash. Or sometimes harmony.
Both, really, between those deep traditions and our modern drive for freedom, for self-fulfillment in relationships.
So our mission today, give you a comprehensive, quick, and honestly a really fascinating look at this evolution.
Quick but deep.
Yeah, exactly. We're pulling insights straight from our main source, modern marriage, tradition versus choice in today's world.
Good stuff in there.
We've basically boiled it down to the most important bits. The goal. Help you get really well informed on how marriage is being, well, redefined across the globe.
Okay, let's get into it.
So to really get where marriage might be going, we kind of need to look back, right, at its past.
Absolutely. Context is key.
And here's something that might surprise a lot of you listening. Its original purpose. Radically different.
Oh, yeah.
When you think marriage today, what pops into your head? Probably love, right? Connection.
Yeah, usually, yes.
But just take a second. Think.
right.
What was the real underlying point of marriage for, like, our ancestors?
It's such a fundamental question. And the answer for, centuries, millennia even, was incredibly practical.
Not very romantic.
Not primarily, no. For ages, marriage was much less about love and way more about, survival.
Survival. How so?
Property. Strategic alliances. Think medieval Europe, right? A marriage could literally stop a war
Wow.
or combine huge chunks of land, secure political power, the individual's feelings, often, honestly, an afterthought.
So it's more like a business deal.
In many ways, yeah, like a corporate merger or a diplomatic treaty. Not mainly a love story.
And arranged marriages fit into that.
Perfectly. They were the norm in most cultures precisely because they served these practical ends, keeping the family line going, cementing social status, even just making sure there were enough hands to work the land.
That really flips the script, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Because this idea we have now, marrying for love as the main goal, that's actually pretty new.
Surprisingly recent, historically speaking.
It only really got going with the Enlightenment, the Romantic movement, sort of late 18th, 19th century.
That's when individual emotion really started shifting to the center of it all.
So for most of human history, marriage, pragmatic survival.
Pretty much.
And today, our source puts it so well. Marriage used to be about survival. Today, it's often about self-expression.
That captures it perfectly.
Just think how different your own idea of marriage probably is from your great-great-grandparents. It's a massive shift in, well, human experience.
That history really sets the stage for where we are now.
It does.
Because even today, those deep traditions, they still shape marriage all over the world, sometimes subtly, sometimes not so subtly.
Right, they're adapting, but they're still there.
Exactly. It creates this amazing patchwork of approaches. It's definitely not one size fits all.
It's really incredible how varied it still is. Our source gives some great examples.
Like where?
Okay, take India, other parts of South Asia, arranged marriages. Still a very strong practice, often deeply respected, part of the social fabric.
Right. Very embedded.
But, and this is key, you're seeing this noticeable rise in love marriages, where people choose their own partners based on affection. Maybe with family blessing eventually, maybe not, but it's happening. A big shift in a traditionally collectivist culture.
That's a significant change.
Then hop over to the Middle East. Family approval, still absolutely vital, often like non-negotiable.
A crucial step.
But the younger generations, they're increasingly pushing for more, say, more personal autonomy in who they choose. Leads to some interesting family dynamics, I bet.
Oh, I'm sure. Delicate negotiation.
Totally. And then you look at Western countries.
Big contrast there.
Yeah, the focus is heavily on independence, personal fulfillment. And you see it reflected in the average age of marriage just climbing.
People waiting longer.
Exactly. Prioritizing education, career, getting themselves established before looking for a partner.
Which is different, again, from, say, parts of Africa or Latin America.
Right. There you often see this beautiful blend, rich cultural traditions mixing with modern influences.
How does that play out?
Well, you might have a traditional dowry negotiation, maybe, but now the bride's university degree or her career path might actually factor into that discussion.
Interesting. So it adapts.
Yeah, creating these really unique, vibrant ceremonies. Deeply meaningful, but also kind of forward-looking.
These examples really drive home that point, don't they? There's no single way marriage is done.
Not at all. And it's so important to get that. Our source sums it up neatly. In some cultures, marriage is a family contract. In others, it's an individual's choice. And often, it's both.
A spectrum, really.
Definitely. It really challenges any single idea you might have about what marriage should be. And maybe makes you think about what forever even means in different places.
So with all that history, all that global variety, what's pushing the changes right now? What are the big forces reshaping marriage today?
Yeah. What does this all mean for the future? Are there common threads pulling everywhere?
Good question.
Well, our sources point to a few really powerful global drivers. And one of the biggest, honestly, we can't stress this enough, is women's empowerment.
Huge impact. Absolutely.
All around the world, women are getting more access to education, to careers.
Unprecedented access in many places.
And it's not just about marrying later, though that's part of it. It's empowering women to enter partnerships on, well, more equal terms.
Seeking different things in a partner, perhaps.
Exactly. Often looking for partners who respect their careers, their independence. It fundamentally shifts the power balance inside the relationship.
That makes sense. What else?
Then there's just how interconnected our world is now.
Globalization's effect.
Right. More travel, more migration.
Yeah.
Leads to more interfaith and intercultural marriages.
Becoming much more common.
And these unions, just by existing, they break down old barriers, social ones, religious ones.
They force adaptation.
Yeah, they push families, communities to adapt, and often to actually celebrate this new blend of traditions.
I remember reading in the source about a couple, I think it was an Irish and South African couple.
Yes, that was fascinating.
They wove together like ancient Irish knot tying with a South African jumping the broom ceremony.
Beautiful example.
It wasn't just two people getting married. It felt like two cultures creating something totally new together.
And tied into that is the whole redefinition of norms, especially, the widespread legalization of LGBTQ plus marriage in many countries.
A massive shift.
Absolutely. It just fundamentally broadens the definition of what a married couple even is. Challenges centuries of assumptions about gender roles, the purpose of marriage.
Asserting that love and commitment aren't confined to traditional boxes.
Precisely. And finally, we can't ignore technology.
Ah, the tech influence.
Dating apps, for instance. They're literally creating global love stories.
Connecting people across oceans.
Yeah, across huge geographical cultural divides, stuff that was just unimaginable a generation ago. And that exposure accelerates everything, changing norms and expectations faster.
It really paints a picture, doesn't it? Marriage in, well, now 2025, it's definitely not one size fits all anymore.
Not at all.
It's becoming customizable, like everything else in our lives, right?
That's a great way to put it. Customizable.
But does that create issues? This sort of hyper-personalization, this hunt for the perfect match or the perfectly tailored union, does it risk creating this constant feeling that maybe there's something better just around the corner?
That's a really deep point. Perpetual dissatisfaction.
Maybe. It raises questions.
And as these big forces speed up, it definitely brings up that tension we mentioned earlier. What happens when tradition and personal choice really collide?
Yeah, that intersection, it's not always smooth sailing, is it?
Not likely. What specific friction points does the source highlight?
Well, there are several key areas of conflict that, many people are dealing with right now.
Like what?
First, just that basic tension between family expectations, often really deeply ingrained, and what an individual wants.
Especially about who to marry and when.
Exactly. You might feel huge pressure from family to pick someone from a specific background, certain faith.
Well, your heart's pointing somewhere else entirely.
Right. Creates massive stress, internal and external.
I can imagine.
Then there's the challenge of balancing cultural pride, wanting to preserve traditions, with your own personal happiness.
That's a tough one. Do you go through with a big traditional wedding that maybe doesn't feel like you ever, just to honor the family?
Or do you push for something smaller, more personal, that truly reflects who you are as a couple? It's a real conflict for a lot of young people, caught between honor and authenticity.
And related to that is the timing thing again, that societal pressure. still strong in many places, to marry early.
Versus this growing desire to wait.
Yeah, to wait,
Yeah.
to build a career, get established, or just, wait until you find the right person whenever that happens. Not on someone else's timeline.
And the last big one is how views on divorce are changing.
That's huge, too.
Moving away from this heavy societal stigma, in many parts of the world at least, towards more acceptance.
Which changes the whole forever calculation.
It does. It acknowledges that sometimes things just don't work out. And ending a marriage isn't necessarily failure. Maybe it's just a different path.
It kind of redefines what success in a relationship even means. Maybe less about endurance, more about mutual fulfillment.
Possibly, yeah. It shifts the focus.
These are real struggles
Okay.
happening all the time, and the Source boils it down, basically. Tradition gives identity, but choice gives freedom.
A powerful summary.
So the question becomes, for so many people,
Hmm.
which matters more to you?
Yeah.
And how do you even find a balance?
And beyond the individual, what happens to society when these tensions aren't really resolved? Can society function well when this fundamental building block is in such flux?
That's a critical question. How are societies handling it?
They're grappling with it for sure.
Yeah.
Unresolved tension can mean more stress on individuals, families drifting apart,
Yeah.
even bigger shifts in demographics, family structures. But on the flip side, it also forces new kinds of support networks, new communities to emerge.
Interesting. Pushing us to rethink family.
Exactly. To redefine what family means beyond just the traditional married couple with kids.
That's really insightful. Okay, so if we try to look ahead now,
Yeah.
beyond these tensions,
Yeah.
what might marriage look like down the road?
What's on the horizon?
Yeah, what emerging trends might surprise us next? Here's where it gets really interesting.
Well, the trends we see now offer some pretty fascinating clues about the future.
Such as?
There's a definite rise in what sociologists call companionate marriage.
Companionate. What's that exactly?
It's where the main emphasis is really heavily on the emotional partnership.
Okay.
It values shared interests, mutual respect, being intellectual companions almost, more than traditional duties like having kids or securing social status.
Built on friendship.
Friendship and shared life goals, yeah. It's a clear evolution away from those more utilitarian or strictly patriarchal models.
That makes sense. What else?
We're also seeing more of those global weddings we touched on.
The blending of traditions.
Exactly. Ceremonies that beautifully mix elements from both partners' backgrounds. We talked about the Irish-South African one.
Right?
But imagine, like, a Japanese tea ceremony followed by wearing a Western white dress. Or a big, vibrant Indian Sangeet party flowing into a quiet European civil service.
Reflects our interconnected world.
Totally. And the desire to honor both where you come from and who you are together.
Are there other major shifts?
Well, yeah. A growing number of people are choosing not to marry at all.
Like opting out entirely.
Which leads to new definitions of family. More cohabiting couples raising kids, more single parents by choice, even these really close-knit, chosen families.
Where friends become your primary support.
Exactly. Taking on roles traditionally held by marital partners, it shows commitment and partnership can exist outside that formal legal structure.
And anything weirder, more futuristic.
Mm-hmm. Well, perhaps the most intriguing, though still very early days, is stuff happening on the digital frontier.
Like what?
Concepts like purely digital marriages, even ceremonies held entirely in virtual reality, VR.
Seriously. VR weddings.
It's starting to pop up, still experimental mostly, but it raises fascinating questions about what makes a union real or valid in an increasingly digital age.
Wow. Okay, those are some profound shifts.
Yeah.
Are these just evolutions? Or are we looking at something bigger, like a total paradigm shift where marriage itself becomes almost unrecognizable?
Good question. It's probably a bit of both, right?
Yeah.
Marriage in the future likely won't look exactly like our grandparents' version. The forms, the expressions, they'll keep diversifying, no doubt. But what the sources really seem to suggest, overwhelmingly, is that the core human need for connection, for partnership, for love, that's not going anywhere.
It'll just find new forms.
It will always find a form, even if that form isn't legally binding or traditionally structured or even physically co-located all the time. Love finds a way, so to speak.
What a journey we've covered in this deep dive.
We've covered a lot of ground.
From marriage's ancient roots in survival and alliances,
Very practical roots.
all the way to today's focus on self-expression, emotional connection. We've looked at the incredible global variety and peeked at these, well, sometimes wild future possibilities.
And threading through it all, it just becomes so clear, doesn't it? Marriage, whatever form it takes, is like this dynamic mirror reflecting society back at itself.
That's a great image. A mirror.
It shows our values, our anxieties, our hopes at any point in time. So whether it's leaning more towards tradition's comfort or choice's freedom, it's constantly changing. It shows us exactly where we've been, and it definitely gives us hints about where we might be heading as a global community.
So as you go about your day after listening, maybe think about your own perspective in all this. In your life or just in the world you see around you, what seems to hold more weight right now?
Tradition's comfort and identity.
Or that liberating power of individual choice when it comes to relationships?
And looking ahead, what other forms might love and commitment take? Things we haven't even conceived of yet. Maybe things beyond the idea of marriage altogether.
Lots to think about. Thank you for diving deep with us.